How's it going, everybody? It's AJM21, and we are back with another streamer interviewed episode. Today we have Freykin, and we're on Risk of Rain 2. He's a really cool guy. This is actually the second time I interviewed him because the first time the file corrupted and I lost everything. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and let's get right into it. Alright, y'all. Just a quick little FYI. I did chop up the very end of this just to the boss fights because otherwise this match would have lasted this video would have lasted like 2 hours. So just heads up, the ends just chopped up to the boss fights. And enjoy. Alright guys, we are back with Freykin.
Hello.
I messed up the first recording. It got corrupted, so we are back to do it again. As per usual, I have difficulties. So, you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody how you came up with your name?
Okay, so I'm Freykin, and I came up with a name over the course of several years of just doing different names for different online platforms, and it started out as a version of Freya from Norse mythology, and it eventually corrupted its way to being Freykin, and I stuck with it. So,
Gotcha.
I've been doing this for a name for probably about 10 years now, I think. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more.
Sweet. Alright, and when did you officially start streaming?
Officially, where I was trying to do something with it, I would say back at the end of January this year.
Okay.
I streamed a long time ago, back in 2009, 2010, but I didn't try to do anything with it because that was before anyone really knew you could. Really, I feel like it's such a new thing.
Yeah.
And so I did it every now and then to show a friend a game or to have an easy way to record something or whatnot. But it wasn't till end of January this year where I tried to have a dedicated schedule and everything.
Gotcha. Sorry, I got a new phone and it keeps timing out on me.
Ah.
Alright, so what was the first game that you started streaming with?
Let's see. The very first was League of Legends, back in that 2009, 2010 window. For the first one where I was trying to do something with it, oh man, I don't fully remember. It was one of two games. It was either Path of Exile or Median Excel, which is a Diablo 2 mod.
Okay.
One of those two. I'm not sure which one I started with. And I've mainly been doing Median Excel since because that's where people seem to be at when I'm streaming stuff. So.
Okay.
Or at least, there's people watching Path of Exile way more, but I'm so far down the list that no one ever finds me. Whereas with Median Excel, there's maybe 3 or 4 people streaming it at one time. So.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to have people show up and go, oh, hey, you're doing something.
Yeah,
that's cool.
The market's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Definitely understand that. Alright, and what's your proudest moment with streaming so far?
Let's see. Probably the proudest would be... That's kind of a tough one, because I don't think there's been a lot of things that are necessarily something I'm proud of necessarily, but I guess what stood out the most to me is I've had a couple occasions where people, it's really obvious that someone's enjoying the stream, and then they show up again the next day or sometime the next week or something, and they're clearly they're there within a couple minutes of my stream starting. They've been paying attention to the schedule I've got posted. That's really cool that someone's enjoying what I'm doing that much.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So that sort of thing I think is what I'd be proudest of, is the fact that there's people who enjoy what I do and get fun out of it.
That is definitely rewarding.
And although people can be surprisingly nice and really complimentary, which is, it feels kind of strange because I didn't expect that, you know?
Yep.
Because you're used to online communities being the sort of thing where you're like, well, okay, I'm a nobody, so people are going to be toxic. But like earlier today, someone on my stream was like, you've got a really nice voice. I could listen to it all day. And I'm like, well, thanks. I don't even know what to say in response to that.
I'm not gonna lie, you do kind of have a wonderful voice.
Thank
It's
you.
very soothing.
I've gotten that a few times now from people on my stream, like people who don't know me, have no investment in it whatsoever, and like saying something nice about me. I'm like, that's really cool. That in general, Twitch has been a really positive environment from my experience.
Yeah. I haven't had too many like toxic people other than like people that were trying to troll me in game and then they would come to chat. But
yeah, I can see that especially with battle royale or first person shooter games.
yeah, that was Call of Duty. And I play hardcore so you can team kill and all that stuff, and this guy team killed me like 3 times because I had TTV in my clan tag.
I see.
I was like, I called him out hardcore for it. I wasn't gonna play that game.
And those shrines, sometimes you go on these runs where nothing happens.
Yeah. Have you found the teleporter?
Yeah. One of my friends I played this with last week, and he showed me how to tell where the teleporters are. There's these little yellow particles that come out of them that you can see in the distance. And so I'm heading towards it right now. But once you see it and get what it is, it makes it a lot easier to find them.
Gotcha.
Like I still get lost trying to get to them sometimes, but yeah, it's right over here.
I think I see the particles you're talking about.
Yeah, they're subtle, but they're once
Yeah.
you got it, it's noticeable. Yeah, I'm ready to advance whenever you are.
I just caught on fire. Big time. Alrighty. So, what streamers do you look up to and why?
Let's see. So, the first streamer that really I noticed and looked up to is Ziggy D, who does mainly action RPGs and specifically Path of Exile. He does a bunch of other stuff, but that's what he mainly does. And
Okay.
he's such a positive force in the Path of Exile community, both on stream and off, that I would love to reach that level of being a positive force in the community for whatever I'm playing. It's really cool to see him constantly putting out guides on how to do things in the game.
Oh, I think I just died. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay.
And helping people out in his channel and everything, and just he's an all-around good guy, which is always nice to run into.
Okay.
And even when he's become one of the more famous streamers for it, I don't know if he's the most, but he's definitely up there. It hasn't gone to his head or anything, there's no sense of entitlement there. You can tell that he's incredibly grateful for the support he gets from everyone in the community and everything. Let's see. From a technical standpoint, I am incredibly impressed by Heresy Heller, or Haler, however you say it. The guy who does the alpha stream stuff on YouTube. His stream is just perfect in how it looks every time, and
It's pretty magic. Not gonna lie.
and his the advice he gives is incredibly helpful. And then let's see, a more recent one would be a guy who goes by Catmaster OP, who is another Path of Exile streamer, and he's quite a bit smaller than either of those other two. But he's so consistent and friendly and fun to interact with on his stream. He's really good at interacting with his chat, and that's something that I aspire to be as good as he is with that.
Okay. What's your all-time favorite game?
Let's see. My all-time favorite game, I'd say at this point is Diablo 2.
Okay.
Um, just because it's been 20 years since it came out, and I'm still playing modifications for it. So,
Gotcha.
and it's Diablo and Diablo 2 are what like started my love for that genre, the action RPG genre. And so, like, I love Path of Exile and Grim Dawn and all the other newer ones out there. But there's something about it that still holds up over time, and it's a classic.
Gotcha.
And some of that's nostalgia. Like, if I were to go back and play the base game at this point, I'd probably hate it, because there's so many things that have changed when it comes to modern gaming that are improvements. But with the version I've been playing, the Median XL one, they've added all that stuff in. Like, they've raised the resolution, they've made it so when you walk over gold, it picks it up. You don't have to click on each pile of it, you know.
That would drive me nuts. Not
Stuff
gonna lie.
like that is such huge, like, quality of life changes that it has that same old feel, because you're still fighting all the old, like, monsters and stuff, but they've made it play much better.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
All right. And what is your goal with streaming?
Let's see. So it's changed a little bit since the last time we did this.
Okay.
Partially because I have very much become stagnant on growth, which happens to everyone at times.
Yep.
But like of course I would love to be able to turn it into something that could be a full-time job. But I'm more focused right now on just making sure that I have a good time, and that the people who are there, who show up, are also having a good time. And so it's a lot of it's about just trying to have a chill, relaxed place people can hang out and talk about whatever we're up to.
Okay. That's not a bad thing.
And if some money happens along the way, that's cool. So.
Yep. Yep. All right. And what is your routine before you start the stream?
Let's see. So, I make sure that I've eaten lunch. I start streaming at 2 p.m. my time.
Okay.
Sometimes I can forget to do that, and that's always
Yep.
bad. I make sure I've done that. I've made sure that I have several drinks nearby, so I have something without having to get up and go get it in the middle of the stream. I changed the batteries out on my headset and my controller to make sure that they're at full power so they don't die in the middle of things. Let's see. I try to remember to launch everything before, like, 5 minutes before the stream starts, so that everything's updated.
Okay.
I've definitely had times where I launch, like, Streamlabs or something. It's like, wait, we need the patch. And I'm like, oh, great. Is
Yep.
everything going to work? And so far I've been lucky and everything has, but there's going to be that day if I don't do it where I'm going to launch it and it's just going to crash. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of like trying to prevent anything that could go wrong on the stream.
Okay.
And so I tend to try to start 5 minutes before my actual stream time on, like, a start page,
Okay.
where it has my, like, schedule listed, my social media stuff listed,
Okay.
has some music playing, and then I go to, like, Twitter and post there, that kind of thing, and then switch over and, you know, turn my microphone on and switch the scene over to one that actually is whatever I'm doing and go from there. And if I'm lucky, someone is already there.
Oh, that's nice.
Usually that doesn't happen, but it's happened a couple of times, and it's really nice when that happens.
I bet. I bet. I can only imagine that happening because I have yet to have that happen, but one of these days.
Yeah, I have been really fortunate with the Median XL community. It's one of those things where, like, you know how people are constantly talking about, like, don't stream big games and have, like, a day you stream for growth and whatnot?
Yep.
Well, that community, there's a decent number of them. There's constant updates coming out like every couple of months that bring people back to it. And in the Diablo 2 section of Twitch, there's maybe 3 other people streaming it at a time. So I'm near the top when it comes to people streaming it. So while the community isn't nearly as big as like Fortnite or Apex Legends or PUBG or any of those, there's a lot less competition.
Yeah.
So I know really soon, thanks to some stuff released during TwitchCon EU, there's going to be more than one way to sort people soon for people who are browsing, where they can make it go from least to most viewed in addition to most to least viewed, along with also who it thinks you would like, from like an algorithm perspective, and also who just started streaming. So
Nice.
I'm hoping that's going to lead to a lot of growth for smaller streamers who just don't even get a chance.
Yep.
You know,
I feel like that's going to help out a lot of small streamers, actually, because I know personally I prefer, like, yeah, I'll watch the bigger channels because there's not too many people that are active in chat. But if I can watch a streamer where they never notice my whatever I say, or I can watch a person that notices everything I say, I'm going to watch the person that notices everything I say.
Oh yeah, same here. Like that person I mentioned earlier, Catmaster, he tends to have 15 to 20 people in his chat, and maybe 3 to 4 are talking at a time, with myself included.
Okay.
And he always responds. He's always on there. He's always like, you know, the instant I say something, he's like, "Hey Freykin, how are you doing? How was your night?" You know, that sort of stuff. Like he's on it, and that makes me feel welcome and want to go back. So,
Exactly. All right, I'm ready to rock and roll if you are.
sure, yeah. It's cool getting to play this character with someone else. This character is melee only, and so flying things just suck to fight as him.
I bet. Yeah, I saw you just like up above the character or the boss, flying above him.
What's funny is you
Punching
can
him.
actually land on his head. Okay, I should be almost there.
All right. So, what would you change about the negative connotation with gaming?
Oh man.
The fun one.
This is a tough one because there's so many things that might make sense but I don't know how they hold out also between like just in their own countries, but how it go across cultures. Like for example, in South Korea, your social security number or equivalent is attached to every game you play.
Oh wow, that would not.
So
make me
you have full accountability for everything you do in the game.
Okay.
So if you're a dick, well, they know exactly who you are. They can get rid of you, and you can't play again because you have to use that to log in.
Yep.
And it's not like you can like get a fake one added to a database, you know.
Yep.
So that's one of those things where that's kind of the like that's definitely one extreme.
Yep.
And then where we have here, I think it's the opposite, where, and this is true of a lot of places in Europe too, I think, where there isn't necessarily accountability because you can just make another account. I mean, you might lose your progress on whatever game it is.
Yep.
But when people are trolling, they don't seem to care. You know, like,
Yeah.
I definitely have seen people who have gotten banned multiple times in League of Legends and not cared and started a new account. And they're actively ruining the game for 9 other people every time they do what they do in the game. So,
Yeah. See, I think that's the biggest thing for me personally is, like, I don't care if someone's like an asshole or anything like that. I care more about them ruining the game. That's why I hate stream snipers so much. Because
so that's where people go and watch your channel and know what you're up to and everything.
yeah, like I'm there to watch one person play. I'm not there to watch 15 people come try and kill them because they know exactly where they're at and exactly how to kill the person.
Yeah, that's no fun. That totally explains why you can have a delay with Twitch that you set yourself. So you
Yep.
can be like, okay, it's 20 seconds behind. They can't figure out what I'm doing with that.
They're
Or
pretty
whatever.
smart. Like, even with like a 2-minute delay, they can still get in your game and find you and mess with you. It's ridiculous. I
And that
haven't
makes sense
experienced it,
with
but I've
battle
watched it.
royale games that are a lot more about map control
Yep.
and getting the drop on someone and exploring and everything.
All right, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Okay. Now, with so since I don't play a lot of those, I'm curious. Do people like, let's say, for example, because it's the easiest one. Let's say Ninja's in a Fortnite game. Is it obvious to everyone else that he's in the same match as them?
So you can have it's called anonymous or streamer mode rather,
Mm-hmm.
where it's less obvious, but it's still pretty easy to tell if you pull up a stream, because you can literally match up. There's a code at the or at the top of every stream or every game that you play, and all you have to do is match those numbers, and you know you're in the same game. So it's pretty easy.
That's unfortunate.
But like if you're in the game and someone kills you, it's not as easy to tell. Like you actually have to be actively trying to stream snipe.
Okay. So I'd have to be someone who's purposely trying to do that to
Yeah.
cause that sort of problem. But yeah, my biggest problem when it comes to online gaming, and we're talking specifically about the gaming itself here, because there's so much in the culture of it that we could go into, that's built up around it. But when people are ruining it for other people, when they're getting fun out of ruining the game for everyone else, that just sucks.
Yep.
You know, it's not it's not what I enjoy about games. Well, okay, it's not what I enjoy about games anymore.
Yeah.
When I was 17, I was a terrible person in a lot of online games. But
Well, I mean, you
no,
always have like those moments where you like yell at somebody. Wow, this is my first time finding a Q ability.
oh, nice.
It's insane. I totally forgot that that's even a thing.
Yeah, I haven't found one on this run yet either. Well, there's a difference between yelling at someone and getting their entire guild in the game killed and making it so their characters are worthless.
Yeah.
Because I've done that one. I did that in Ultima Online. We got people stranded on an island that they couldn't get off of, and they were dead, so they were ghosts, and ghosts can't walk across water, at least in that time period on Ultima Online, and there was nowhere to res on the island, so they were just permanently dead. We ruined their characters. And that's when I realized I didn't want to do that anymore. Because I saw just how mad they were. I'm like, oh, these are real people. I should not be doing this. You know?
Yeah.
And of course, my friends who did it with me were like, why? That was super funny. And I'm like, yeah, but we just wasted hours, weeks, days of their time, you know? And so I won't even play games where it's a possibility anymore. Like, where there's that big of a, like, competitive aspect to it. Like, hardcore PvP MMOs and stuff are just not for me
Right.
anymore.
You can grab that.
Okay.
I got one. I got a lot of abilities right now.
Yeah, I've got almost a full bar worth.
Yeah. I'm one shy of a full bar.
I only have one duplicate.
So I know we talked about this in the last one.
Mhm.
We're kind of getting into the biggest injury that you've had.
Okay.
So do you want to explain to people like how you play games and why you play
Sure,
them
yeah.
with a controller?
That sounds like a great way to get into it. Okay, so I play everything with a controller on PC. I'm using a Steam controller for the most part. I very rarely will use something else. Usually the Steam controller is my best bet because of how customizable it is. And the reason I do that is due to a genetic disorder I have called Marfan syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder. And it leads to all sorts of problems. The two major ones that I experience myself are chronic back pain to the point where I can't sit at a normal desk and like office chair setup. I have spent thousands of dollars on chairs, and I have not found one that works for me anymore. And I also have had to have heart surgery at 31 because of that. And there were complications during it. It did not go as planned. So I have less blood flow to my legs because of that, and I am a lot less active than I used to be. I have a ton of restrictions that are pretty much going to be for the rest of my life unless some miracle cure comes about, which may happen. I mean, science is science,
Yep.
so who knows? But yeah, my life drastically changed. Actually, was I? Yeah, I was still 31. I turned 32 right afterwards. I'm 36 now. I just had my birthday. My surgery was 3 days beforehand.
Oh man.
And so it's kind of a weird, like, double celebration kind of thing, because I'm celebrating still being alive and my birthday.
Well, I mean, that's good.
Yeah, no, I've been trying my best to make it a positive thing. Like, it's still a very weird time period, but yeah, so that's changed the way I play games. I used to, I used to have a really nice monitor on a standing desk that could go back and forth. Had full, like, Razer everything, Razer mouse, Razer keyboard, all that. I was super into all the, like, gaming peripherals and stuff, and I've had to change it all. But I managed to still be able to play things, so that's good, because it's one of the few things I can still do that's any sort of interactive. Like, I can't easily even, like, go for a walk.
Okay.
Like, going for a couple blocks wears me out.
Okay.
And that's just frustrating. I used to be really into rhythm action games like Dance Dance Revolution, and I can't play them anymore. I can't do stuff like that. I haven't even gone running since my surgery 4 years ago.
Man.
That's how much it's changed my life.
Well, I personally hate running, but
Well, like, there's a difference between hating it and doing exercise and
yep.
not even being allowed to try.
Yep.
You know?
I hear you on
Like,
that.
like running sounds really good now because I can't do it. You
Yep.
know? It's like if I could
Imagine.
run, that would be like a victory. It'd be like, oh, I can do this thing again.
Yeah, it's still a
And then I
sense
wouldn't,
of
and then I
freedom.
wouldn't do it again. So.
Yep.
Or I might. Who knows? But chances are I probably wouldn't. But I would be excited to do it once.
Right.
So yeah, that would be my biggest injury. Following that, and it's really hard to compare things to after that because heart surgery is nuts.
Yep.
I've also had an appendectomy, and I had my nose split in half by a dog when I was a kid.
Hey, I almost had my junk taken off by a dog when I was a kid.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was exciting.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. A little toy poodle. No less.
That doesn't surprise me. Those little dogs can be vicious.
Yeah, it was. I'm probably gonna die.
Have you fought one of these magma worms yet?
No.
Okay, they're scary.
Yes, very. I
I
know-
might be able to get it with this though. No, it went underground. Damn. The equipment piece I got is really good. It's like a one-shot boss thing, but I
Okay.
missed. It's a big charge-up, slow blast, and it went underground before I could hit with it. They go back and forth between like going across the ground like this and going up in the air.
Oh boy.
And if you're really unlucky, they have shields.
Yes, I can imagine. This is
We're
where the
doing
game
pretty
gets
good, though.
fun. This is where it actually starts like getting fun. And we're on easy mode.
Yeah. Which is what I've been exclusively playing on because I'm trying to unlock things,
Yep.
and I'm not going to do that on hard unless I have to for something. There is one unlock that has to be done on hard, and I'm saving that one for last.
So you have everything else done.
Yeah, you have to beat an elite boss. I'm not even sure what that means on the hardest difficulty.
Oh man, that sounds exciting.
And like, I'm sure it'll be fun when I get there, but I am not there yet.
access to the rusty lockbox?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you if one of us has a rusty key, it spawns a rusty lockbox in the stage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of items dropping you might not have seen before because it takes all of our unlocks and makes them available when you're playing with people.
Yep.
And
I
that's
have noticed
one of them.
some, like, new
I
stuff.
forget how you get that one.
Well, I saw a box over here.
Was
Let's
it
see.
the timed one or?
Yeah, it's the timed one.
Yeah, that one you have to get to this stage within 10 minutes and open it,
Okay.
which is a huge pain.
I can imagine.
I basically just kept trying over and over again as the robot,
Gotcha.
and
The robot
eventually
kinda
I got
shreds.
lucky. He does, and that's why, because you can just go straight to the boss and start it without even getting items, so you can just blitz through the first stage in like 2 minutes.
Yep. Alright, I am not sure where the lockbox is.
Oh, that's all your missiles coming out of them. I'm like, what are those
Yep.
green projectiles? Do I have
It's
to
all
spend
the,
more on here? Oh, I totally do. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Alright, you ready?
Yeah, backup magazine's super fun on this character.
Yeah, I
It
think
gives
I
me
have
extra
that.
uses of that spin attack I'm doing
Yep.
in the air.
Yeah, I got that one. Alright. So, what is your proudest moment in life?
Okay, so I'm gonna first say the easy answer: surviving heart surgery.
Yep.
Because it's hard to beat that.
It really is. Not gonna lie.
That's kind of my cop-out answer if I don't want to actually answer the question, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because people ask me stuff like that. They're like, "Oh man, what's the thing you're most proud of?" And I'm like, "I didn't die during heart surgery." Let's see. I know last time I mentioned meeting my and getting and that is and her being someone who or me being someone that she wants to be with because we've been together for 11 years and she's by far the most positive force in my life. But that's not necessarily a thing to be proud of. It's more just a really lucky happenstance in a sense. In that I even met her. But for the thing I'm proud of, like an actual direct accomplishment, I'd say it would be finishing up my bachelor's degree while managing to still hold down a part-time job programming at the same time.
Okay.
And
So-
with the stress of knowing I was going to need heart surgery at the same time. So that was just like it was a summer that just absolutely sucked, but I pulled it off. I managed to do like 2 quarters worth of work in 1 quarter while doing 20 hours a week programming and doing all my medical stuff I had to do. So
Gotcha. So what kind of programming did you do?
so I did stuff mainly in C++ and focused on both Windows and OS X, and we did but what I mainly did was working for a small company that does professional audio hardware and software.
Okay.
And so, like for example, I've written code that does audio buffers for like mixers. I've done stuff for the test and measurement industry for like, let's say, you wanted to, if you were a big company and you need to have your speakers or microphones or whatever tested in a factory environment. I've worked on products people use for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So a lot of stuff focused around audio and user interfaces.
Okay.
And it wasn't necessarily what I'd like to have programmed if I had like a free reign of choice, because that would clearly be video games. But even with it not being something I was necessarily 100% into, it was still a lot of fun. Like programming itself is something that I really enjoy. It has a very like puzzle solving aspect to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've never really gotten into that side of things yet, but I've always kind of wanted
Right.
to like look at it and learn.
And I got really lucky in that I got to work one-on-one with a programmer who'd been doing it for 20 years, and that's how I learned.
Gotcha.
And so I got to learn from someone who knew exactly what he was doing and got basically one-on-one lessons 8 hours a day while I typed what he wanted me to type because he had bad carpal tunnel and couldn't do it himself. so so he basically just taught me as we went. He's like, and this is why we're doing this, or what would you do for this situation? You know, he would push me. He did a really good job of pushing me at the points where he knew I was just out of my comfort zone but could still pull something off, you know?
Yep.
He was a really good teacher.
That is always a plus. What's that?
Ah, good.
Drone.
I found it. There is a very special chest in this level every time.
The 2000 one?
The 2000 one,
Yeah,
yeah.
I found that.
And it is worth it if you can get the money to open it, but it's guaranteed to have one of the like epic tier items that are incredibly powerful.
Okay.
The problem is getting the money together to open it.
Right.
Man, this magma worm will just not leave me alone. I can't kill it. It can't kill me. It's just this is constantly chasing me everywhere.
Oh man,
Oh, I think you got it.
I'm roasting it right now.
Nice. Yeah, just because it keeps going in the air, it's so hard for this character to get to him.
Right. What else we got? I'm at 800. So I'm guessing if we do this boss fight, I might get there.
Possibly, yeah. Let's see. Can I afford this little drone? Not quite. There
Alrighty.
you are.
And who do you look up to in your personal life?
Let's see. In my personal life, it would be. There's a ton of people I could list, but I look up to my father. He's been a major positive influence in my life. He has, let's see, a little bit before I was born, he founded his own company, and it's still around. And he's one of the things he's done with it, besides like the ever-present "we need to make money to survive" kind of thing, is he's done a lot of work in the assistive technology market with stuff like text to speech and people who are helping out like the blind community quite a bit back in the early mid 80s when it comes to being able to use a computer, like stuff that would read screens for them, all that sort of stuff. And I didn't even know about that until I was like in my mid 20s. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I went to this conference and someone interviewed me." Sure, and I listened to it. I'm like, "Oh, everyone here loves you because you did all this stuff. You never told me about it." And that's usually a sign that someone is really like, they're doing it for the right reasons. They're not doing it for the fame or the glory or whatever. They're doing it because they feel it's the right thing to do.
Yep. And
what he's doing currently is he's trying to do something similar when it comes to, like, what's the right way to put it? For people who are either like physically or cognitively disabled, there's a lot of like assistive technology on using modern computing devices, like switches and buttons and joysticks and all that sort of stuff. And they're stupidly expensive. They're way too expensive because they're selling to a small market, the people who are making them, and they know they can get insurance to pay for it. And so, like, for example, if you wanted to get a single button switch, like pressing an A button, that's $65. If you want a 4-directional joystick, it's $350.
Man. Where was that chest at? I think I got enough for it.
Let me see if I can find it again. I've gotten pretty good at spotting it. Wish I had more speed boosts on this guy. I didn't try to look for any this time. I should have. It's always like.
It was right
It's in
where
this
we
little-
spawned at, I feel like.
It's always in this little crevice. I'm usually pretty good at spotting it. Is it over here? Nah, that's the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah, my father's someone I look up to a lot. My girlfriend is also someone I looked up to a lot because that's what it was. This was the question where I mentioned her. I felt weird when I said proudest moment involving her before. I
think
knew
you
I
did
mentioned
mention
it. But she's just outright amazing. I mean, I could go on forever about it. I mean, she's so creative and smart and funny, and you know, it's. I feel like almost everyone says this about their partners, but ooh, you managed to get it.
Yes,
It's like,
I got it.
Alien Head. I'm not sure I know what that one does.
Reduces cooldown
Ooh, that's cool.
for your special, I think.
That's handy.
Good night, buddy. Love you.
And then let's see. For one more, I'll say my friend. There's a friend of mine who I've known since junior high, who is now a marriage and family therapist, and he's done a lot of work with troubled youth, and
Okay.
I've been continuously impressed at just how good he is at working in that community and helping get people out. He's made a career out of helping kids in trouble, and that's really impressive to me.
That is awesome. That takes a special kind of person,
It does.
and it also takes. I think it's necessary. as
Oh, it
well.
totally is. He he works in a field that's constantly underfunded and overworked and underpaid, and he's managed to make it work for him, and been doing it since. Well, okay, he hasn't been doing the specific thing he's been doing since he was a teenager, but he figured out he wanted to do this as a teenager when he started working at a daycare, and was like, oh, I can help these kids out. This is awesome. Well, how do I do that more? And
Right.
just kind of gone along that path since then. Okay, marking that so we don't lose it.
I think I'm ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
I can sprint so fast now. It's a
Oh,
little
you got 4 of
ridiculous.
those, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that power up. Especially on that character, since you can fire while sprinting.
Yep.
Yeah, I am at the teleporter and ready when you are.
Go ahead and start it. I'll be right over.
Okay. Oh no, it's one of these.
What is one of these?
The Imp Overlord. They're annoying. They teleport around a lot. And in fact, I don't know where it is. It seems to have just gone away. Oh, there it is. Get back here.
I love the music whenever you're like going after something insane.
Yeah, the music in this game is really good. It was the same with the first one in the series. That's part of what, oh, you have that item. Okay. I just saw our list of allies just spring up into like infinity.
Yeah.
There we go. Much better. Did he only drop one of them? Oh no, the other one's up the mountainside. Eh. Oh, great.
I got it.
Oh, you got that one?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, this character comes with a built-in double jump, but I haven't found one of those feathers yet that gives you more.
Yeah.
And I can kind of do a dash, but it's really hard to control. It's more for stunning something and going through it.
Yep. Sweet. You ready?
Yep.
Alrighty. What is your favorite food?
Favorite food is burritos, by far.
Yes.
I absolutely love burritos.
My wife just brought me a burrito.
Ooh, now I'm envious. Yeah, I grew up in Southern California, and there is a ton of good Mexican food there. And so that was very quickly a staple in my life. And I'm now living in the Pacific Northwest up in Oregon, and there is good Mexican food here, but it's not the stuff I grew up with.
Right.
And let's see. For specifics, I really like a straightforward bean, rice, and cheese burrito. But I also really like, which is it? Machaca burritos. They're like breakfast burritos with shredded beef in them.
Okay.
And just something about that egg, cheese, shredded beef combo is just like, For a while, I was living a block away from somewhere that was selling them, and that was very dangerous.
Awesome. And let's see. I got so many different like characters coming after me right now. Like trying to.
I think you pulled the entire map. There's only like 2 over there.
Destroying right now though. It's a little crazy.
Is that one of the good ones? Crap, I don't remember.
Which one?
Corpse Bloom. Double your healing, but it's applied over time. I have enough lunar coins that I spent one on one of those things that takes one to open up for an item.
Gotcha.
And those are always items with a trade-off. And I couldn't remember what this one did. And I'm like, well, okay, if I can't remember... That's how I am in these games. If I don't know what something does, I have to take it because I want to find out.
Right?
Like, I have played hundreds of hours of Binding of Isaac, for example. And there's like, probably like 500 different power-ups in that at this point. And so I'll come across one, I'm like, well, I don't know what it does, so I have to pick it up, and now I'm dead. Or I pick it up and it's like, this is the coolest thing ever. Now I need to remember what this one is.
Right.
Oh man, that big beetle thing is a normal boss. We've gotten far enough that normal bosses are becoming enemies.
Yep. I've almost got it. Oh, it's dead. Nice. Holy. That was fun.
Ooh, Wake of Vultures.
Is that one good?
What's that do?
It temporarily steals power from fallen enemies.
Oh, that one's really good. Okay, you know the enemies that are like on fire or ice or have shields? Well, whenever you kill one of those, you get their power for a while.
Oh. That will come in major handy.
And those type of enemies are like everywhere now, so.
Yep. Alrighty. So, what is your dream car?
Dream car. I remember you asked me this last time, and I had a really hard time answering. So, I'm gonna go with the one I can think of that was my dream car, and if I could have one of these, and I'm assuming here I could cycle them out for new ones when they started having problems in this case.
Okay.
Because we're talking about a dream car here.
Yep.
And it was an Audi TT Quattro.
Okay.
Um, I really liked that car in the like early mid 2000s. And I had an Audi station wagon, which is what made me even notice it in the first place.
Okay.
And then my Audi station wagon got too old, and I learned the problem of having an Audi, which is that they fall apart and their parts are very expensive.
Yes.
But if we're talking about a dream car, I don't need to worry about it. I just have a new one, so.
Exactly. Yeah, I had a Volkswagen GTI. And that thing was the oil pan. To replace the oil pan, it was like almost $1,000.
Oh, jeez. I had let's see. What were the things I had to deal with? Mine just guzzled oil like no tomorrow.
Yep.
To the point where for Christmas one year, my dad got me a case of motor oil that I just kept in the trunk, and I used it all up by the end of the year.
Oh man.
And then I also had to replace the oxygen sensor because it was busted.
Yep.
I found that out in the middle of the freeway going 80 miles per hour when my engine turned off.
But that was exciting.
It was kind of scary because what I had to do to make it so I could even do anything was I had to shift the car into park, turn the key back off, and then turn the car back on and go back into drive while in the middle of the freeway going 80 miles per hour.
Yep. My GTI, it was a loose battery cable.
Ooh,
And
that
out
sounds
of
bad.
nowhere, it would just like shut down. And luckily it was a standard transmission, so I was able to like just push in the clutch, kind of coast for a minute while I got it restarted.
Yeah, mine was an automatic, so I was kind of hoped.
Yeah. But that made things exciting. Sweet. Well,
It
everybody.
also had a. Sorry,
We're
go
still
ahead.
going. No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, it also had a really weird problem where in the factory they put they wired the high beams and the headlights backwards. So my normal lights were just the high beams on, and my high beams was turning the normal lights on. And it took a couple years for me to figure this out. I'm like, why is everyone flashing their high beams at me? So I would flash mine back to show like, hey, look, I don't have mine on. And it wasn't until I had to replace one of the bulbs where I'm like, wait, what? What is going on here?
That's funny. I would have been so mad. Because I hate it. I drive a truck now, and I know for a fact my high beams are not on. But I get flashed. Like, if I'm driving back home to my parents' house, I will get flashed at least 10 times.
Because your car's just high up.
Yep.
And so people feel like it's high beams.
Yep.
But high beams are very different,
And then,
especially nowadays.
I don't know if it's just a local thing, but, like, I'll just kind of bump them back. Like, hey, I don't have my high beams on, you know. And then they'll just turn theirs on.
Oh,
And it's like,
weird.
well, you were already complaining, clearly, that my lights are too bright. So do you really want to play this game? Does not bother me one bit.
And you're like, this is going to have the opposite effect of what you meant.
Exactly. People are stupid around where I live. They just don't get it. I feel like my character is just extremely OP right now. I don't think that we can grab any more items.
I don't think so, not for this map.
There's one other spot that I
And
remember.
we're all the way to the I see you difficulty now.
Yes.
There is only 2 more past this that I found.
We'll test that. Alright, what do I want? What do I want? I'll take that. Alright, I'm gonna get this going. I have 3,000 coins for gold.
Yeah, I have 3,400 myself.
Oh, who is this?
Yeah, it's the
Oh,
Stone
it's
Titan.
that
We got
guy.
but we have two of them this time.
Oh
It won't be that bad. He's not that bad anymore at this point. Especially these two characters are really mobile. I
Yeah.
feel it's really easy to avoid his. Compared to like the Commando.
Yeah, and the fact that I can shoot while I'm sprinting really helps.
It's such a cool ability. It's made up for by the fact that you have less health than I think every other character.
That's fine, because I'm shredding right now. Mine's dead.
Same here. I love when you clear it fast. You can just have kind of like a victory lap against everything that's left.
Right? Alright, well, where can everybody find you?
Let's see. So they can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Freykin. And, sorry, we just got a blue portal. Have you been in one of those?
I think so.
Do you have 10 lunar coins?
I have 7.
Okay, if you had 10, you could unlock a character there.
Okay.
It's kind of like an extra shop you can go to, but it only takes lunar coins for stuff. But yeah, it can be found at twitch.tv/Freykin for Twitch, and then on Twitter also at Freykin.
Okay.
And I have a YouTube channel, but its name is not easy to get. It's just a big string of letters and numbers. But I go by Freykin on YouTube. I don't know if you can find it that way, but I know if you try to go to the actual YouTube page, for me, it's just giant long stream of stuff.
Okay. If you want to link me, your YouTube, I can put it in the description.
Sure, yeah. I can do that.
That'll make it easy on everybody.
Sure, sounds good.
Oh my goodness, I can run so fast. This is insane.
Okay, what are we against? Beetle Queen. One. Looks like 3 Beetle Queens.
Oh boy.
It probably won't be that bad.
I just kind of fell down underneath. So I'll bring it back up.
I've got one of them to half health. Oh shit, that was close. Okay, I'm gonna go hide over here for a second. Okay, I got the 30 health.
Maybe try 'em. Yeah, I'm full. Oh boy. Oh man, I'm on fire. Run!
If only that would put it out.
Right? Why can't I shoot? That was weird. Yeah, those armor-piercing rounds would be big against the boss.
Okay, who is it? Oh, good. It's multiple magma worms. Well, I will do my best to be helpful. Are there really that many? What is that hellfire? Oh, it's just normal. Just everything's on fire.
I wonder why. I got one.
That's all of them. There was only 2. Oh, here we go. This buckler is really good. And I know you mentioned that you've been working on putting a new computer together, that you've had to replace a bunch of stuff. And if I remember correctly, it runs well on a large array of hardware.
Okay.
But
yeah, I mean, my PC is pretty strong now. I mean, it could use a better graphics card. Or not graphics card. Well,
they got me.
I could use a better graphics card as well, but that's always the case. Processor is really what I need.
Yeah, my graphics card is several generations old, but it's still a good one from that time period. I put this computer together, was it 2015 or 2016? One of the two. And I got line but close stuffage. Wow, yeah, you just zoom everywhere now.
Yeah, it's a little nutty. Just give me that.
Yeah, I bet if I had not taken that shrine that I would still be alive right now. Since I had so many healing items on me.
Oh, you're an asshole, aren't you? I'm getting away from you. Hey, hit whatever. Okay. Yep. Critical strikes heal you. Underneath that.
Oh, you've got multiple of the glaives stored up now. That explains a lot. How you're just melting everything.
It's so insane how fast I can move. At the very least, I could just keep running.
Yeah, something would need to pretty much one-shot you.
Oh, stuff that I just happen to not pick up. There we go. Oh, that one kind of hurt. What's that? Thank you. I'm just like spending stuff at this point. I don't know if it would be a good idea to go after the boss now, or wait. Oh my
Yeah, it's tough
goodness.
to tell. That is a lot of those wisps.
Oh, holy cow. That was insane.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I know I had a lot of fun getting to know Freykin for the second time, and playing Risk of Rain 2. There was a lot of like new features in it. Like the animations in it were a lot different. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. But you can find Freykin on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I'll leave all those links down below. And don't forget, I stream on Twitch regularly. My schedule is going to change soon, so I don't want to say the dates and times, but my schedule is going to change soon because my work schedule is changing. Whole lot of long story, but I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks. Like, comment, subscribe. Like that. Yeah, let's do that one.